This is the Fitzy and Whipper with Kate Ritchie podcast.
Bit of a treat for you now, guys, because plastic surgery doesn't always go to plan. That's why we wanted to get this man on from Botched. Dr. Dubrow, welcome to the show.
I'm here. How are you guys?
Hi. Dr. Terry Dubrow, Season 8 of Botched is now streaming on HeyU, and we appreciate your time. What's your affiliation with Australia? You had any Australian patients before, Doctor?
I've had many Australian patients. We have a few on the show this season. By the way, I've never been to Australia.
You've never been?
I've never been. I know it's the most beautiful place on the planet. I'm dying to go, but I've just never gotten out there.
What have you heard about botched surgeries out here, or plastic surgeons in general? What's our reputation?
Very, very good. Like all your medical care. I mean, your plastic surgery society is top notch, but I know that you guys have the same issue we have, where a certain high percentage of cosmetic surgery is done by non-board certified surgeons who call themselves cosmetic surgeons, who were like radiologists last week and took a weekend course, and now Monday morning they're cosmetic surgeons. You guys have that issue as well as we do.
Just on that, because we are close to Asia, Doctor, a lot of Australians like to go over to a Thailand or something like that and get cheaper procedures.
Yeah, of course, it's called medical tourism. There are good surgeons all over the world, right? Yep. The problem is most of the time you're going to surgeons who are doing it very inexpensively. You get what you pay for, right? There are certain places, certain countries outside of Australia and the U.S. where they do surgery very well, like hair transplants in Turkey. I'm telling you, top-notch hair transplant surgery.
There you go, Fitz.
Okay, I'm going to Turkey.
I've got a great mate who's a plastic surgeon here, and what's interesting is when he talks about, he does a lot of boobs, and he talks about when girls come in, often he will identify whether this is something that suits their body or it's a trend. And if it's a trend, then he simply won't do the procedure. And that's got to be one of the most considerate things.
See, your friend is a great plastic surgeon, I can already tell you, because that's the ethical way to do it. I mean, who was the first one who did liposuction? Who was the first one who did a breast augmentation? You have to be a little cuckoo to try a procedure that's brand new. So if there's a trend and it's brand new, do not do it. Let other people do it till it's figured out.
Okay, which are the trends that we're seeing at the moment that you would stay away from? We were even talking the other day about people deciding to have the Jennifer Aniston or the Ariana Grande dimples in. I mean, what else are you seeing that you're thinking, oh, goodness?
So I don't know how big this procedure is in Australia, but the Brazilian buttock lift, which I'm sure you guys know what that is.
Well, we had an Australian girl, I think, unfortunately died on the table from a butt lift.
So it's the most fatal procedure. 1 in 3,000 will die. The problem is there's very big, short, wide little blood vessels in the buttock that you can't see, right? So when you put fat in there, how do you know it's not going right into those little blood vessels? Which, by the way, those blood vessels are connected to the main blood vessel bringing blood back to the heart called the vena cava. If you take a glob of fat and push it in there by mistake and it goes to your lungs, that's when they don't survive.
Right.
It's just
What's the worst you've seen? I mean, across the range of body treatments you can have.
I think the ones that are the worst is when people have those illegal facial and buttock injections, right? They go to those pumping parties and whoever's doing it went, instead of using medical grade material, they literally, and I'm not exaggerating, they go to a hardware store and get caulking material, right? That looks like silicone, and then unbeknownst to the person, they will inject it in a hotel room. And that's a ticking time bomb, because the immune system says this is not good. It starts rejecting it and putting scar tissue around it. And we see people with masses all over their face and their buttock, and it's a real problem.
Doctor, Ozempic's massive in Australia, but there's a thing that I'm hearing about is Ozempic Facelift. So what's an Ozempic facelift?
So there's a thing called Ozempic Face, right? Because I'm very into these miracle weight loss drugs, but what's interesting about them, what we're learning is, if you take a 1,500 calorie diet and you lose weight with that, but you take the same exact calorie diet and you add Ozempic to it, you're going to lose weight faster. So it's going to make your skin even looser than it would with a regular diet. So it's making the laxity change a lot more dramatic. So you're getting Ozempic face. So what we're seeing as a result of that, very thin people coming in a lot younger for faceless. Because traditionally, you think of a facelift 50, 60, 70.
Yeah.
We're seeing 30-something-year-olds coming in for faceless now. But having said that, these are great drugs for people who need to lose significant amounts of weight. They do have side effects. Don't get them off the internet. Get them from a physician under a physician supervision, and they are very effective.
Okay.
I've got a question for you before you go. Whipper, stand up for a second. You can see, there he is.
He's our Botched.
Yeah. What can you, he's had some awful plastic surgery done. Which is the botched part on...
Take your top off for the doc. Show him your left breast.
No, okay, look.
I'm going to be very honest with you. Looking at his situation, it's a scalpel, not a magic wand, okay? So there's just so much that you can do.
My God.
I'm
That's my
obviously
joke.
kidding. The guy's a surfer. You surf, right?
Yeah,
he looks
big
like
time.
he's super fit.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
He's
on.
out on the board.
You're so
He looks
true.
awesome. This guy looks
No,
awesome.
come on. If you had 20 grand, you got 20
Kate.
grand to spend, Australian dollars, where is it best spent?
20 grand for him, we call that a deposit.
Hey,
Doc, we could speak to you all day. Season 8 of Botched. We are really looking forward to this. It's now streaming. Appreciate your time. We know how busy you are, Doctor. Thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. It's
thanks,
fun.
mate. Take
See
care.
you, buddy.
See you, mate.
Bye, guys.
Fits in Whipper with Kate Ritchie is a Nova podcast. For more great shows like this, download the Nova Player via the App Store or Google Play.
The Nova Player.